Was-it.com.
Right, well, I'm recording this again. I did this yesterday on my little recording device. Today I'm just using a little iPhone SE, so I'm not sure what the quality will be like. I haven't plugged the mic in. I've ordered a little one from Amazon. Not sure if the quality will be up to anything. So this is just purely recorded on the internal mic of the iPhone SE. That's, I think that's basically the same quality as iPhone 6. I think that's what it's based on, just a smaller version. Right, I'm just reading my notes. I did this, like I said, yesterday, and then spent an hour recording, and then found I hadn't pressed the record button. But I'm finding walking around with a large mic, even though it might just give a better quality and whatnot, and the recording device is one too heavy, and when you're walking around just banging along and people notice it and whatnot. So I'll be using that at home, or maybe photo shoots or whatnot. Sorry, I got a little bit of a cold I think coming on. So just for the outdoor stuff for these, I'm just going to use this little iPhone SE, simply because I can sling it around my neck, walk along, and once I get this little lapel mic thing, it means my hands are free. We'll just have to see if it's powerful enough to record. The reviews seem to say it's okay. It's not the cheapest, but it's not the top of the range one. Mainly because I'll end up just standing on it after a few weeks. I always do with headphones and things like that. Not sure how sensitive this mic is. I'm just walking through the woods. In the background there's a river, so I'm not sure if it'll pick it up or not. Might just be my voice. I'm just going to flick over to my notes. I won't record as much as I was going to do, so I think I should just rabbit it down a bit too much. I probably will do this. So basically, the reason I'm doing it is just to cover the age verification, porn laws, whatever you wish to call them, that's supposed to have kicked in next month, April 2018, which have now been postponed. Most people probably aren't aware of this. It's, to put simply, it's a Chinese style censorship, which the government's blagging is supposed to be some help and whatnot. I think from reading, I might be wrong, the government panicked because the Daily Mail ran a couple of stories and the NSPCC did some bogus survey and yanked it out as if it was real research. And hang on. Oh, sorry about that. Sometimes when you're walking past people, you just got to put it on pause, because it's a bit embarrassing when you're talking about porn. Anyway, I'll just go back to my notes. I've got a few notes made up. Blah blah blah. Let me think where out to. There's quite a few articles on this. I think most people aren't aware of this kicking in, and the government's almost hiding it away. They seem to hide it in all the reports. They're not really upfront by it. The latest report was hidden away in a report on the new, what do you call it, 5G, I think, the one about that. And it was literally right at the bottom, hidden in about one or two paragraphs, quite vaguely there. It's a bit of a, if you ever watch Yes Minister, you can imagine that's the sort of thing they used to get up to there. Hide things away so you can officially say you've reported on them, but no one actually sees it, except unless people read through it carefully. And to be honest, even if you read through that, it's so boring as the 5G report. I don't think anyone but the most dedicated people would have even spotted it. Okay, so there's quite a few articles worth googling. Adult age verification UK. You'll pop up. I mean, most news firms seem to have a bit of a you don't see much support. Basically, it's surprising that the media isn't, even the Daily Mail doesn't seem to have been supporting it recently. They've kept quiet, probably because I know most of the readers won't really appreciate it. Hang on. Dun, 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 dun. We're back again, sorry, another little interruption there. Right, so one of the articles is from the wired.co.uk website, and it goes on quite in depth. Blah blah blah. It goes on about how it's mandatory, supposed to be mandatory in 2018, but all the plans have been put back. Let's see. Blah 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 blah. And it goes on about how the main firm could be MindGeek, that Age ID, with their Age ID system. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, MindGeek is basically run Pornhub and most of the big major sites, and they're on about getting 25 million customers, whatever you want to call them, sign up through them. Now, this is the interesting thing. You've got several questions there before we even move on. Is basically, what happens if these things get hacked and your data's out? Will the government compensate you? I mean, it's them who are doing it. I mean, you can't hold the porn sites responsible when they're being told who to use. The second one is, I mean, it's quite obvious it's not workable because this was announced about a year ago and no one's even pushed it any further because it's clearly not workable. Let's not kid ourselves, this is a load of shite, to be crude, to use a French expression. The most that's going to happen is, well, I don't think it's going to work. I mean, there's, like I said, several questions one needs to ask. What, can we sell our ID? I mean, would that be illegal? Because I can imagine people sign up, get an ID, password, and then simply sell it on eBay or something, and I'm not sure that would be illegal. Charge 10 quid. The second one is, like I said, is what happens if it gets hacked. Then you've got the question of is how these firms deal with it, because it could be pirates. Oops. Sorry, another interruption. Like I said, for all they know, I mean, anyone can basically set up a site. You don't know if they're gangsters or anything, if they get a license. I mean, is it fun? I mean, if they're going to ask for your credit card details and passport, I mean, whoa. You can see what's going to happen, can't you? Plus, there's nothing to stop people setting up fake sites. I mean, how easy would it be just to set up a site as a criminal and ask for all your details? You can see what's going to happen, and it'll start. If it ever does, I mean, I'm still suspicious. And then all the criminals are going to pop out, set up sites, grab your details, and by then the government will go, "Ooh, we don't hand out your details to these sites." By then it'll be too late. All the banks will have had their accounts stripped. You're going to have hell on earth, I can see. Plus the other one is, what was the other one I was thought of? There was another little problem I could see. I think you probably think of some problems yourself. I said fake sites, not sure who these firms are, all your details being hacked, selling your ID. Alright, cool. You can see the problem's endless, basically. It's not so straightforward. I'll quickly go back to my notes. Yeah, like they say, apparently MindGeek with their Age ID is quoted they're expecting 25 million people in the UK to sign up. Oh yeah, the other one is, what happens if you don't have a credit card or ID? Basically you're blocked. I mean, that's why it gets serious, because it's like saying if you're legit you can access it. Reality is you're forced to. I mean, is it a clever way the government want you to get ID? I know my mate won't even carry a driving licence or anything. And I know a lot of people don't have driving licence, passports, credit cards. I mean, I certainly don't have a credit card. So it might sound a bit echoey now. It's nothing. I'm just going through a bridge, so it might sound a bit different. I'm just coming out. So you've got that problem there. I mean, this is why I think it's going to flop. Sounds simple on paper, but in reality, it's not really workable. I mean, some people in the adult industry are trying to think of how to make it work, but the truth is that it's never going to prove. You're never going to be able to prove you're 18. I mean, in reality, you've got to always remember this, and this is what I think people forget. If you sign up for broadband, by law, you have to be 18 to sign a contract. So one presumes that everybody in the UK who signed the contract is 18 or over, and thus you're responsible. It should be down to you to be responsible who uses it. I mean, after all, if you go out and buy beer and bring it home and you let your kids drink the beer, it's not the off licence who's responsible or the supermarket, it's you. And that's what you're basically asking people to do. And the other option is, you got to remember that most of these firms now have some sort of block anyway, where you can request adult sites to be blocked. And then you've also got the problem with what is porn. I mean, the people go, when you ever ask this, everyone goes, oh yes, that's a silly question, but they all give you a different answer. So some may think page 3's porn with topless pictures, and others will say that's not. I mean, we do get the extreme where you get paintings in art galleries. Some will class that as porn. Then you've got books and all sorts of things like that. It gets so. I mean, you could even quote the Bible after all. I mean, there's more begetting in that than anything. Now the next one is who is supposed to be responsible for this nonsense. Let me go back to my notes. Basically, the BBFC, if you don't know who they are, they're the sort of, we're in the UK, we have a sort of communist system where you have to pay thousands and thousands for some bloke, or I presume it's a bloke, might be a woman, to sit and watch films and age verification. If you're not aware, most of the countries don't have that sort of nonsense. In fact, we might be the only one who's like that. In most countries, you can age verify it yourself. You can put on it's 18, or you don't have to pay. Someone does it free. But it's a sort of throwback to sort of semi-communist thing we've got in this country. We have a sort of semi-communist government, you see. You know, and you might have not. Anyway, it's one of them silly things. And so they come along and they're supposed to be putting together this nonsense, plannings or something. Historically speaking, we did have something called, oh God, what was it called? Some VO, I forget. ATVOD, that was it, ATVOD. It ended about a year or two ago. They were trying to regulate just the UK. The result was nonsense. Few things happened. One, site simply closed down. That was the end of. That meant that successful sites weren't paying tax, models weren't being hired, so they were on the dole, or getting less money, so paying less tax. And the other one was, second one was people either claimed or did move abroad. Because the idea was you're supposed to be only, it didn't matter where the site was based, if I get this correct. You could, because most people host in the USA or various countries because it's usually cheaper and they've got quite a good setup. They're massive firms, so the scale's usually cheaper. So what happened was they just simply claimed that was it, sorry. But it was where you edited the films or something. So if you edited in the UK and uploaded, you were part of this gunk. So people simply claimed they weren't. Oh, it's video only back then. This new porn thing implies to pictures as well. That's another difference, or anything porn. So it could be words. It's a bit more confusing, but it seems to engulf a lot more than it did the ATVOD, which was basically just video. So what you have now is a situation where sorry, sniffing here, but still full of cold. So basically people just claimed they didn't live in the UK, and plus it was quite hard to know what sites were, unless your site said British Babes. It was you could have been an American site for all they know. After all, a bondage site, who knows? And because people buy, I mean, you can't even go on the basis of, oh well, they're all UK models, because some sites simply purchase content or pay photographers. I mean, a lot of people that run sites don't ever shoot this content. I mean, I do. That's because I think it becomes part of the site then. Ooh. So anyway, I just walked past somebody. What we'll probably find is, one thing is, like I said, it's one suspects. One of the things I noticed was after ATV thingy-majig, whatever the silly name was, shut down, a lot of people told me they didn't even give a rat's ass. They were in the UK and just ignored them. They were never contacted because they didn't have any details up. And so it was like they just laughed at other people who were voluntarily handing over the details and paying the fee. Well, that was it. They had to pay. To begin with, I think they were talking about £1,000 or something stupid. And because people simply didn't have the cash. Because you got to remember, a lot of sites are just one-man band. It might be a girl just doing their own site just for a bit of fun and pocket money. So £1,000 plus might be okay for the huge, well-known sites that are raking in millions, but for somebody who's just pulling in maybe £50 a month, and some of that has to go on covering the cost of the server, payment firm and design, and maybe the paying the photographer. It doesn't go very far. So clearly, so I'm walking up a bit of a cliff hill now. So basically, then they just reinvented the price. I mean, basically, the impression was they were making up as they went along. So it went down to, I think it was £110, give or take. I forget, it was something like that. And I think they let you pay it monthly. But for a lot of people, it wasn't really the money. It was all the silly little rules, because on the tour they were told no rude bitch and all this, which when you're competing with American sites and other people who have left it on, makes it completely ridiculous. People are actually editing the websites, so you saw big blobs over nipples and whatnot. Made the sites look complete garbage in the end. It wasn't really worth running. Or some, if they're smart, simply just remove the videos, left it pics only, which obviously most people join these days for videos, but it got them out of the doo-doo because they were exempt, because it was pictures. Oh god, this cold's getting worse. Right, back to my notes. So, out of breath, I've got to get fitter. Now I'll just cover this government. I'll try and put all the links in on the website. The wasit.com. Forget the name now. Bit worn out today. I was helping move a fish tank yesterday, and it was damned heavy. A massive thing. Massive tank. Weighed a ton. And it's knackered me. The gravel alone was insane, and then it split. Anyway, that's another matter. So the government report. This is they released it 10th of March 2018, 2018. It was basically, I think it's called 25 million for 5G project, blah blah blah. Some guff, nothing to do with porn. And then you move all the way down, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. And it's that's, don't know if I've put it down there. Basically, they just say they're hoping, they don't say it's definitely, they use a different word, anticipated, that's it, that's the word they use, that it'll be the end of the year, end of 2018, so it's almost no confidence that they're going to do it, but I'll just put a link there. Sorry, really I haven't got a tissue, sniffing like mad. Now, one of the big, like I said before, one of the problems was this all seems to have come on the back of an NSPCC report, and I'll give you a link to the independent one, because to be honest, if I read that out it'll take forever, but it just goes on about how the doctors, some professionals, and we're not talking just people from the adult entertainment, we're talking full-on professionals, all the experts, not just some idiot who just, I don't like porn, or I'm a Christian, I don't like porn, therefore it's wrong. You know, those idiots that really just make crap up. Sorry. Anyway, they go on and on. Oh, and another person coming. Oh, I thought someone were coming then, so I'm just walking through the way out. Someone is. Oh no, they're not. They're going the other way. No, the trouble is they'll be in front of me now. Nuts. Anyway, if I walk slow, they might not hear me. Oh, there. Right, back to my notes. So I'm using this iPhone and I'm having to flip across from one app to another. It basically talks about this letter that was condemning them. So I'm pulling the phone away, so I don't know if it sounds as how sensitive this thing is. I'll try and find the open letter. Oh dear. There we go. I don't know why this thing has gone a bit funny. I read this the other day and it was fine. It's all over the place. Oh, hang on, there we go. This is from the Sex and Censorship website. That's .org, not anything else. So if you go on it, type .org. It's called the Open Letter to the NSPCC. I won't read it all because I'll let you guys do it. But it's goes on. I think it was dated 11th of April 2015. So it's a few years old now. But for those who remember, you might remember this. It was in the news all over. I mean, it was completely swamping the news until they were found out. Sorry, that's quite rude of me to sniff. So anyway, it goes on. The letter below. Hang on, let me see if that's a start. Alright, an open letter to the NSPCC. By Jerry Barnett. The letter below is sent to Peter Walnes, if I pronounce that right, the CEO of the National Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Children. Basically, a lot of this is on the basis which protecting children. And it turns out that everything, this is the problem. This whole law's been yanked in on a cobbler's research. That was made out to be real studies, this porn panic thing. So basically we've got a stupid law that's going to fail, possibly take all your details, pass around all the criminals. It could be, I'm not saying it's going to, but I can't say it not. Anyway, it goes on about how the report was on about 12-13 year olds who are addicted to porn. In a nutshell, the letter starts pointing out that porn addiction isn't real. People talk crap. I mean, my own personal view, and this isn't part of the letter, is that if anyone claims they've got porn addiction, get castrated, because I'm sure it'll soon stop. And by definition, if you've got addiction, being castrated shouldn't stop it. You should carry on being addicted to porn. But I'm guessing it'll suddenly stop. Anyway, it goes on to say that the clever research wasn't academic. This is the nutshell. It was carried out by a market research firm. I'll repeat that. Not scientific, just simply a market research firm called OnePoll. OnePoll. And that we're concerned, it says, about the findings, because you're making out research and it's just poop, basically. Poopy poop. And it goes on saying that all the experts agree that since 1960s, lots of studies have happened by proper experts. And again, whenever you say someone who's anti-porn, it's usually they bring out something done by non-experts. You've got to get remembering the difference between a university study, which so far seems to indicate no problems with porn, and some religious or feminist gobblers where they've just gone out and made up their own findings. And usually the ones they quote are the made up junk rather than research. That's a huge problem. And it's signed by, it goes on and on and on, but I might as well let you read it, because if I read it it'll be boring. I'm just going to be reading and probably read it incorrect, but that's the problem, folks. So in a nutshell, we don't know if this is going to kick in. A lot of people think it is. My personal view, it's not workable. Day one criminals are just going to use it. I mean, you'll just set up bogus sites. But the worry is why one major firm, MindGeek, wants all your data. I mean, it's ideal for them. I mean, for a start, let me just... God. Sorry, sniff. Sorry, just walking through the woods. You've got to remember that a lot of sites spend money getting people to this site. Doesn't matter if it's porn or not. Imagine you've got your own site. Doesn't matter what you do, right? Forget about the porn. You've got to think you could be selling, I don't know, candles online. Now you'll have gone out, right? And you might have affiliates. By that, people get a small percentage of if they put a link on their site and people go through it. So say they get millions of hits, they could make, and they send you quite a lot of orders. It's worth doing, you see, because they'll make thousands of pounds, and although you have to give up a bit of profit, you're not having to pay for advertising, which may or may not work. I mean, this is one of the things with online. Some people pay for advertising and others just use affiliates. Well, anyway, that's going off subject. So now imagine you've got all these millions of people coming to your site. Great, that's your business. It's a bit like if you had a shop, it's people coming in. Now imagine then you've got another firm that comes along, a rival, a bigger firm, maybe a supermarket that can stand outside your shop or website and take all your customers' details, regardless if they buy anything or not. Isn't that marvellous? And then they can use it themselves to possibly sell, or I mean, we don't know what they'll do with the data. Even if they just use it themselves to study the sites or what everyone's gone on, they'll know the habits. A bit like what we're having now with Facebook, where they know exactly what you're into, what everything. I mean, basically Facebook's designed, I think, I'm not 100% sure, so that although it's a useful tool, it's also useful for data collection, because you can almost live your life through it. A lot of people don't even bother with their own websites for the company. They do it via Facebook. Probably not as much now in the last few years. I think they're slightly moving away. I think they're almost moving back to doing their own website. But it's a handy tool. You can almost, if you've got clever software, you might be able to record what people are saying. It's clever, basically. So anyway, me yapping on there. So imagine that's what this firm's going to do. I don't think I appreciate the firm taking my customers' details, regardless. I mean, we don't know. I mean, at the moment, it could be I pay for this service as well, which, you know what I mean? Like my granddad always said, it's one thing to be shit on, but to be shit on and it to be rubbed in is doubly worse. So basically, I mean, some reports are they're doing it free. So what? You're not doing me a favour. I'm giving you all my customers' details. Thank you. You should be paying me. I mean, it's an absolute disgrace. You should be paying me to put this on my site or sites. And what's it going to do? You see, you've got to remember then, you've got things like people thinking, oh, well, that's it, what the porn sites are done. But what about Twitter, Tumblr and all this? Maybe they'll start banning porn, which I don't think they will. But it's even sites where they ban porn, even Facebook. There's more porn in there than you can imagine. If you go looking for it, it's there. And then you see the other side is you've got, I think they call them VPNs, which bypasses, because one of the talk is they're going to block sites. Welcome to the Chinese Republic. I mean, it's actually going to be more severe than China, by the sounds of it. And if once they start doing porn, you might go, oh, well, I'm not bothered about porn. But then what's the next thing they start blocking? What did we see this week? Or last week, sorry. There was a comedian who's been arrested and charged and convicted, I believe that's correct, of having his dog do a Nazi salute. Now, you might find that funny, you might not, but the reality is that's censorship. You're telling people what they can. I mean, a few years ago, this would have been mainstream TV. We had comedians doing it live on TV, getting millions of views. Now, we're now in a different situation. So when we start panicking and go, when people say, oh, you're overreacting, no, I'm sorry, it's already happening. It's not something that's going to happen. I also remember that bloke who got done for tweeting about the bomb on the, I think it was the Sheffield, I can't remember now. Was it Nottingham? Airport, I think it was Nottingham. Not sure if they have an airport in Sheffield, I don't think they do actually. It was somewhere like that. It was quite clearly a joke. But you start getting down, we're now getting people prosecuted for jokes and comments and censoring everything. So things like that are serious. This isn't some sort of, it's only porn. And the reality is that most people, I mean, one of the reasons I don't think it's going to happen is because it's going to lose them votes. I think the government, I mean, you've got Conservative government, with not a huge majority. I mean, at the moment, as I say this, Labour seems to be cocking everything up again. You've got Labour split. You've got some who seem to be extremely left and some are sort of moderate, and neither seem to agree with each other on anything. And then you've got this momentum, which, by sounds of it, seems quite, they seem like thugs, some of them. They're going round bullying everyone by the sounds of it. I mean, they don't sound particularly pleasant. And I know a lot of people, Labour supporters, are saying, nah, they're either not going to vote or they're going to vote for someone else. Some even saying they're going to go Conservative. Well, I'm just putting my phone under, so I don't know if it'll be louder now. I'm just got it under my chin as I put the dogs on the lead. I often talk like this on the phone. I don't know if people can hear me or not. Oops, hang on, which one's which? Oh dear. I'm late to see a friend, but to be honest, I'm too tired. Oh, blast us, I've lost the lead. Oh, shite. I've lost the lead. Nuts. Oh dear. crappy crap. Oh, it's there. There we go. That's going to cause a lot of aggro. Sorry about that, folks. I can't be bothered editing this, I'm too lazy. It's not going to be very professional. If you want something professional, I ain't going to do that. There we go. I can't talk too long because it's going to get loud and noisy. There we go. Right, so basically, I think that's it then, folks. I'm hoping this records okay because I'm doing it on an iPhone, like I say. It might sound terrible, or it might sound better than what I've been doing. Oh, by the way, I noticed today that a few recordings I did kept the machine on stereo. I didn't realise when you plug a mic in, the mics I got, that Pro one, and even my other one, well, it goes to mono. It's got this 4-channel thing, and I think now I've worked it out, I might be wrong, when you plug the mic in, even though when I used to use it on my DV camera, I think on my DV camera it recorded stereo, I'm not sure, it might have been still mono, but anyway, I have to put the settings on mono, because when I have it on stereo, it looks for 2 mics, so you can have 4 sort of, it's got 2 built-in ones, but perhaps it's just a trial and everything, but for now I'm trying to keep things simple. I see people on the old YouTube and they have some really fancy setups for these things. I mean, they scrape through every perfection going. They have the top end mics. I mean, some of the mics are serious money, $2,000 and stuff. But I mean, if you're a musician, it's probably worth it. But I mean, I've got a rubbish voice anyway, so I'm not really wanting people to hear me too well. But anyway, that's it. But I'd always say this: if I was you, if you're in the UK, contact your MP and say, we don't want Chinese style censorship. Or maybe you do. Maybe you think it's a good thing. I'm not saying you should think it's a good thing or a bad thing. For me, it's a bad thing. But you know what I mean? I mean, if you're anti-porn, you might see it as a good thing. But to be honest, even if you're anti-porn, you gotta remember, the next sites could be something the block is something you're into. So if you're a Christian, maybe that'll be the next thing. They might claim it promotes violence or something. After all, no one's ever died from porn watching it. I mean, that's the one thing I always tell people. No, I'm going to say that at the beginning. I was going to say that at the beginning, actually. Not one person I have ever heard of over the thousands and thousands of years has ever died of watching porn. And yet the government makes fortunes out of alcohol, you know, all the drink companies there, smoking and whatnot. Yet no one dies of porn. That's something to think about. You know, whenever we come out with these porn panic things, I always say, well, you know, I'm sorry, but, you know, let's be realistic. No one dies. No one becomes ill. None of that. It's just, you know, no more than they would if they're watching a horror film or a comedy. I mean, by logic, you can't tell me that watching porn is any more or less harmful than watching a comedy, a cartoon. Because by definition, how can it be? It just doesn't make sense. If porn affects you, then surely a film would. A horror film or a comedy or a gangster film, anything. Now, yeah, obviously you do get some prats who... Oh, hang on, sorry. Oh, one moment, just crossing over. Yeah, sorry about that, cheers. You obviously do get some prats who go out and commit murder, and they have done in the past, after watching a horror film or whatnot. But do you ban all horror films for the sake of one person? And then again, you don't even know if that's direct or indirect. You know, that starts getting a bit complicated in itself, because you've got people who might, I mean, anyway, I'm just rabbiting now. So hopefully I'm hoping this was some use to someone, but at least if you know about this law, because clearly the government's hiding it, and you should all be shocked. I mean, you should be fuming, I mean, especially when they're hiding it in documents. I mean, that's all they've done. Even the last election or the election before, where they hand out them pamphlets, if you looked at it, it didn't even have it hid the fact that we're going to do this, and under some other category, I think it was one sentence, very little detail, hidden. I mean, that's why I'm always suspicious when they start hiding things. You know there's something going on. But I said, remember this, because it won't be long before there's an election, and I'm sure, and you can ask your Labour as well if they support it, because when it comes to an election, I'm sure that they're going to want the votes. So don't hide, don't say, oh, I'll let some other person do it, because that tends to be what happens in a subject like this. People get a bit embarrassed. They don't want to say, I watch porn, because let's face it, everyone does, men and women. We know that. We know women watch it. On Tumblr, apparently most of the porn is watched by women. I think of some stats like that. There's some sort of hoo-ha about it, and that's the case. So don't shy away. Be mad. Tell them if you agree with it. Tell them you either like it or don't like this law. Or at least look it up. At very least, get aware and tell other people, because most people don't know, and even those in the porn industry don't know about it. And even those who do know about it, to be honest, are just making stuff up about it. They haven't a clue. Everyone's making this up, even the firms that are wanting to do it or claiming they're experts in it, and yet the law hasn't even kicked in. Well, when I say kicked in, they haven't announced anything by the BB, whatever. So we're all just making this up. So maybe end of the year it'll be just quietly forgotten about. Ignored, put in another document, or maybe it really will kick in. By the sounds of it, there's supposed to be 3 months after it kicks in. It's supposed to be something like 3 months. Hang on. There's supposed to be a 3 month gap or something to get people's heads round. So even if it's announced in December, let's say they announce it December, the end of the year, January, February, March, that'd be next March, April, by the time sites would have to implement it. But what about all the sites that won't know about it? I mean, that's the reality. Yeah, I mean, are they going to use that? Well, because you didn't know about it, so what? Because I guarantee a lot of people could end up with huge fines. I mean, I've heard they were quoting up to 500 grand per site. That's per site. If you run, say, 100 blogs overnight, you could be owing the government millions of pounds. I mean, that could be some 18-year-old who's making no money, just doing a few blogs for fun, writing about, I don't know what. I mean, it could even be a woman who's just writing about a sex life, not making any money, literally just sharing that. Suddenly, she could be fined 500 grand or have her site blog blocked. I mean, it's a disgrace. I mean, these are things people have to consider. Or what about if you're a photographer? There's a lot of people out there who are painters and photographers who paint nudes or photograph nudes. Are they going to get blocked? It starts getting, you see, this is the trouble. What's porn? I mean, you might see some sites will do rubberware. The girls, let's say girls, because often it's females. When I say girls, I mean people 18 or over. By the way, if anyone's listening to that garbage, sometimes you hear people put about that. People use underage models. Well, let me tell you that every site that I know of, in America it's law, but they do it here anyway, gets ID from the models to prove they're 18. Often it's 2 or more IDs, so you'd have something like a passport or a driving licence, and then they sign a model release form, which what that does is it means that you can use the pictures on your site. Otherwise you'd be probably, well, you get it done for that low, I suspect, where you know the porn, whatever, revenge porn thing, because they won't have given consent. I mean, I think as long as they give consent, even without writing, if you can prove that you're okay. But it's really that law just affects those who 100% didn't know what was going to happen to the pictures. Because in the past, a lot of people, slightly going off subject again, there were a lot of sites people would take pictures of their girlfriends knowingly they were happy to do it, and they just post. Now, if you do that, I'd suggest getting confirmation in a letter from your girlfriend or wife or boyfriend or husband or whatever, just to confirm. So just in case later on down that you might fall out with each other, at least you've got evidence to say they agreed to it. Anyway, that's slightly going off subject. But anyway, I've rabbited on quite a bit now. I don't know how well this will sound. Like I say, it might sound dreadful. I mean, I'm sniffing. Got the dog's fleas banging about. Maybe the jacket knocking around. I mean, the mic might sound even worse because it'll be stuck in my clothes, so it might get a lot of knocking noise, but we can see. It's not an expensive one. I'll probably end up sitting on it within a couple of hours anyway. Oh, sorry, full of cold. So this is a bit of me going on and on. By the way, just for anyone interested, I've recorded this, I believe, in WAV format. When it pops out on the podcast site, I think it converts to MP3. WAV, I believe, is like a RAW format. So if it was a photograph, it's like pro photographers record everything in RAW. Although I don't, I'm too lazy, I just do it in JPEG. But if you're into editing, you should always record in the high format, blah blah blah, because you've got all the details and info. Oh, sorry. It's a bit like I recorded some DV tapes years ago, and now I can convert them, even though it's not high def. The quality is so good that most people don't even realise it's not high def. Some people think it's 4K. But I'm using the raw footage, whatever it recorded, I forget now. Anyway, that's me being boring, sorry. Okay, hope this was some use. Like I said, Google age verification UK. That's age verification UK or age verification law or whatever, and see what pops up, and do your own little research. I'll post some links of the articles and whatnot on my website. So if you're not listening via my website, because this podcast might pop up on other sites, just go to WHAZIT, that's WHAZIT.com if I remember. I might have spelt that wrong, I'm terrible. By the way, I'm dyslexic, so if any of these, I read stuff out wrongly or whatever, you'll understand. So I'm sniffing like mad, so that's terrible, isn't it? Bad manners there. Alright then, cheers, bye.